clock is ticking. You hear that? That's the sound of a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity slowly slipping away. We're talking about solar panels, your Michigan home, and a ticking time bomb known as the federal tax credit. It's an incentive that's been a game changer for so many, but it's set to expire at the end of 2025. And right now, there's a huge question on the minds of thousands of Michigan homeowners. Should I rush to install solar panels before the tax credit is gone for good? Today, we're cutting through the noise, all the flashy sales pitches, and the confusing contracts to give you the cold, hard facts. We're going to break down the real costs, the real savings, and the real risks, all specific to living right here in Michigan. Because while solar ads make it seem like an absolute no-brainer, what works in sunny Arizona might be a complete financial disaster right here in the Great Lakes state. And let's be clear, this isn't just about saving money on your electric bill. This is about your biggest financial asset, your home. We'll even dive into what legendary financial guru Dave Ramsey has to say about this very topic. His insights are a gut check for many people desperately in need. So grab a cup of coffee, turn off all those distractions, and pay close attention. Your financial future might just depend on it. Let's go. So let's start with the thing that's making everybody panic: the residential clean energy credit. Now, you might have heard it called the federal solar tax credit, but whatever you want to call it, it's a huge deal. Here's how it works in 2025. It allows you to deduct 30% of the cost of your new solar system from your federal income taxes. For a typical Michigan home, a solar system might cost anywhere around $20,000 to $25,000 before any incentives. A 30% tax credit on this could be worth anywhere from $6,000 to $7,500. It's not just pocket change. This is a significant amount of money that can make the entire project much more affordable. But here's the critical part, the part that's creating a sense of urgency amongst everybody. The law that gave us this tax credit, the one that made it so generous, is set to expire on December 31st of 2025. There's no phase down, no 26% next year, no 22% the year after that. It just flat out disappears. For you to qualify, your system has to be completely installed and up and running, what they call, the word is commissioned, before the ball drops on New Year's Eve this year. And guess what? Installers are already booking up fast. This is a mad dash, and if you wait too long, you might miss the boat entirely. The tax credit is a powerful motivator. Is it enough to justify the rush? Is it a good idea for you? To answer that, we have to look at the unique challenges of living right here in Michigan. Now let's talk about our home state. Michigan is a beautiful place, but let's be honest, it's not exactly known for year-round sunshine. I've heard people say solar panels won't work in Michigan because of the winter, and that's a half-truth, and a dangerous one at that. Here's the real story. Yes, Michigan gets a lot of snow and lots of cloudy days, especially from late fall through early spring. Snow can cover your panels, blocking the sun and stopping them from producing electricity. But on cold, clear winter days, solar panels can actually be more efficient. Believe it or not, the cold air helps the panels actually work better, and snow on the ground can reflect light onto the panels, boosting their power output. The big challenge isn't the cold, it's the lack of daylight. Our days are much shorter in the winter, which means less time for your panels to produce energy. So what happens in the summer though? We get longer days and tons of sunshine. This is when your panels will be working overtime, generating a surplus of that needed energy. The key is how you handle the seasonal switch. This brings us to a critical Michigan-specific point: net metering. Net metering is a system where your utility company gives you credits for the excess electricity your solar panels produce and send back to the grid. In the summer, you're building up credits, and in the winter, you're using those credits to offset your bill. It's like a savings account for your electricity. However, some utility companies are moving to new billing systems that might reduce the value of those credits. So it's basically a moving target. You have to check with your specific utility providers like DTE or Consumers Energy to really understand their policy and what way it's going. The bottom line, solar panels can absolutely work in Michigan, but you need a system designed for our unique climate, and you need to understand how your utility company will handle energy that you produce. This brings us to a part of the conversation that many solar panel companies don't want you to hear. It's the part that can turn a great deal into a financial nightmare. I'm talking about what financial expert Dave Ramsey has to say about solar panels. Dave is famous for his no-nonsense, debt-free approach to personal finance, and when it comes to solar panels, his message is clear and direct. You should never go into debt for solar panels. He's seen countless stories of people getting a solar panel loan only to find themselves paying a new expensive bill to a bank instead of a utility company. And what happens if the panels don't save as much as that salesperson promised you? Now you have a huge loan payment and a monthly electric bill. You've simply traded one bill for another, and in many cases, a much bigger one. Dave's philosophy is to be completely debt-free. He would tell you that if you can't pay for the entire system in cash, you probably can't afford it. He's seen people get trapped in long-term loans, sometimes 15 to 20 years, only to move a few years later and be saddled with a debt that's very hard to get rid of. This is a critical point that the high-pressure sales tactics ignore. They focus on the low monthly payment, not the total cost of the debt. Dave would ask you to run those numbers, yourself. Don't trust the salesperson's math. Get a quote, get a loan offer, and look at the total amount you'll pay over the life of that loan, including all that interest. Compare that to the money you're projected to save. Is it really a good deal? He also points out that many people get these loans and find themselves, house poor, a situation where you have a lot of equity in your home, but no cash to really live on. A solar loan can drain your savings and put a new lien on your house, creating a financial anchor that makes everything else so much harder. So before you sign anything, ask yourself, can I pay for this in cash? If not, are the terms of this loan truly a good deal for my family? And can I afford the worst case scenario, where the panels don't perform as expected? You've made the decision, you've installed the panels, and you're enjoying your low electric bills. But what happens if life changes and you have to sell the home? This is another critical area that solar panels can be a huge liability. The old idea that the solar panels automatically increase your home's value, and while that can be true, it's not always the case, especially not in a state like Michigan. In reality, it's far more complicated and depends entirely on how you truly paid for them. If you paid for the solar panels in cash and own them outright, they can be a great selling point. They're a new asset, a feature that saves the new homeowner money from basically day one. You can list the panels as a benefit, showing potential buyers the reduced utility costs. Most realtors and appraisers can factor this in, and your home can often sell for a little bit more. But here's where it gets really dangerous. What if you've leased the panels and have a PPA? This is a popular option where a company owns the panels on your roof and you just pay them for the electricity they produce. Sounds great, right? Well, no upfront cost, but when you sell, you don't own the panels and you don't get to sell them. The new homeowner has to take over the lease or PPA. This can be a huge turnoff for buyers. They now have to go through a credit check and commit to a long-term agreement just to buy your house. A complex long-term contract is often the last thing a potential buyer really wants to deal with. But what if you have a solar loan? This is a debt that's tied to the solar panels, not necessarily your home's mortgage. When you sell, you have to either pay off the loan in full or find a buyer who is willing to take on that loan. Both of these options can really make your home harder to sell and can erode any potential profit you might make. You can find yourself having to drop the price of your house just to get out from under your solar loan. The challenge is getting a buyer to understand and appreciate the value of the panels. Many buyers just see a higher price tag and a complicated process. In a cold weather state like Michigan, where the benefits aren't always as obvious, this can even make the sale tougher. It can turn what you thought was an asset into a huge burden. So with all of this information, what should you do? Should you rush to get solar panels before the 2025 tax credit expires? My answer is affirm and suspenseful. Maybe. Here's your final checklist for you to make the best financial decision for your Michigan home. Please don't skip one single step. Step 1, check your roof. Is your roof in good shape? Solar panels are a 25-year investment. If your roof is old and needs to be replaced in the next few years, you'll actually have to pay to have those panels removed and reinstalled. That's a huge unexpected cost. Does your roof face south, which is the ideal direction for sunlight in the northern hemisphere if you didn't know? Is it free of shade from trees or other buildings? Your roof is the foundation of your solar investment. Don't forget that. Step 2, understand the true cost. Get multiple quotes from different reputable companies. Don't just look at the monthly payment, look at the total system cost, the fees, installation charges, and the equipment. Do the math yourself and calculate the payback period. That's the time it will take for your energy savings to equal the cost of the system. In Michigan, the average payback period is around 9 years, but it could be longer. Step 3, consider your financing. Remember Dave Ramsey's advice. If you can't pay for it in cash, consider a loan from a trusted local bank or credit union, not the solar company. Look at the programs like Michigan Saves, a nonprofit green bank that offers low interest loans specifically for energy efficient upgrades. But again, you'll need to understand the loan terms and the total amount you'll pay. Never, ever, ever get a solar lease. Step 4, talk to your accountant. This is probably the most important part of this whole discussion. We are not accountants, and this is not financial advice. The federal tax credit is just that, a tax credit. You'll need to have a tax liability to take advantage of it. A tax credit reduces the amount of tax you owe. If you don't owe enough in taxes to use the full credit, you might not be able to take advantage of that entire 30%. In the past, you could sometimes carry over the credit to future years, but with that expiration looming, you'll need to know exactly how it works for your unique financial situation. So please speak to a qualified accountant or tax professional before making any decisions based on just a tax credit. Step 5, guys, think about the future. How long do you plan to live in your home? If you're planning to move in the next few years, a solar panel installation, especially with a loan or a lease, could make your life incredibly difficult in the future. But if this is your forever home and you've done your homework and the long-term benefits outweigh the upfront costs, then maybe you should do it. So the choice is yours. The clock is ticking, the tax credit is going away, but a rushed, poorly thought out decision could cost you thousands of dollars and create financial headaches for years to come. Do your homework, do the math, and make a smart, informed decision. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. As always, my contact information is listed below.